This energetic, rather small woman would have such a passion for monstrous singing, but she does, and that's what makes it even more exciting.
Hey!
Hey!
That's wimpy.
She's funny, man. She's just tons of energy.
A, B, C.
Vocal lessons are always entertaining.
It's amazing, Melissa. How do you do that?
She's a genius, man. She's a vocal genius.
Going to a lesson is definitely like therapy for me.
This style of extreme metal has a a pretty interesting vocal technique.
We're no Pavarottis.
We're no Pavarottis.
Those kids are screaming their lungs out and their heart out.
People have been screaming in music for 15 years. And now this is the first time I've ever heard of anyone saying, hey, this is how you want to scream if you're going to go ahead and be in a band and be a screamer. This is how you don't injure yourself. This is the stuff that you need to do to take care of your instrument, which is your voice.
When I went to go get vocal lessons, everybody's like, oh, you're going to start singing like the Backstreet Boys or something now. The reason why I'm going is like, I don't really want to change what I do. I just want to make it better, and I don't want to destroy my throat.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily change the way you sound, it just changes the way you do it.
She's the only teacher out there who's going to be able to teach you how to scream properly, forcefully, and strong without destroying yourself.
Ever since she told me how to do it right, I haven't lost my voice ever.
She knows how to work with your type of personality and your...
Baby!
I'm not your mother, and I don't have a bunch of rules about singing or screaming. And this is not a call to inner peace, and I am not the voice Buddha. What I've got for you is a way to be in the moment with your voice. Not to be technical, not to be mechanical, not to channel your favorite rock star, but be yourself, and be yourself straight from the heart. This is the Zen of Screaming.
People want to know, hey, how do you scream like that? People want to know, hey, what do I do? How do I do this?
It has to become muscle memory, just reflex. Because if you are thinking like, okay, hold it in, then okay, let a little out, like if you're thinking about that, you're gonna forget what the next lyric is anyway.
When we went there, she wasn't trying to change us into something that we weren't, or trying to say, oh, this is the best way to do it. She just would say, this way is gonna help you do what you do better.
Although she did suggest we wear tighter pants.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about.
In order for me to put this in the here and now for you, I'm going to have to translate a lot of technical stuff into visual images. And the reason I have to do that is because the voice operates from the part of the brain that communicates. Oh my God! See, I just left my guitar in a cab, and my voice is responding to an idea in my brain. I didn't make my voice go, oh my God! Technically, I was responding to a feeling. That's what we have to do.
She explains things in a way that's very easy to understand, something that is usually kind of difficult to explain.
You can't play basketball by going, okay, I'm going to flip this at the 4th millisecond 20 degrees to the left. You have to shoot the ball. And that's how you have to sing. You just have to be there. There's 2 moving parts we have to talk about here. Basic physics, okay? If I put air in my cheeks and I close off my lips and I blow, I have the strength to blow out my birthday candles. And that's how the voice works, except that the air is not in my cheeks, but it's in my lungs. And the closure part is not my lips, but it's my vocal cords at the top of my windpipe.
It's all about, hey, are you singing from the right place? Are you trying to breathe in the wrong spot? Are you supporting it? And support is so important.
You have to have control of your pipes at all times, because that's your livelihood. You know what I mean? We can't, doing this shit every day, playing shows every day, if your technique is whack, it's going to show, because you won't be able to, have the endurance to keep it up.
People are touring more than they used to. When I did weekend shows, I don't think it was as much of a worry. which I still would have if I would have known what I know now. I probably still would have warmed up anyway, but just to have a better show. But I didn't have to worry about the stamina issues the way I do now. Like when you're torn like this, you gotta do everything you can, because there's enough other things around that, you know, may not make things as healthy as they should be.
So what we're going to do is we're going to balance out the pressure in the lungs and the closure of the vocal cords without thinking about it. What we're trying to do is get a zen between the air pressure and the vocal cord pressure, so that one is not doing more than the other. It's the perfect balance, so you can get that nice, follow through.
To know how to do what you do well and correctly is more important than anything else you can ask for. That's why she's so good, because she makes you feel comfortable and she works with you and she gives you exercises that are practical for what you're trying to do.
It's all about the breathing. When we talk about singers breathing, we're not talking about in, out. We're talking about holding the breath without holding the breath. In other words, an accordion player, when he plays, he doesn't smash it in and pull it out and smash it in like this, but basically he works off the top of the tank. And that's what we're going to do with our rib cage. I'm going to teach you something called rib reserve breathing. At the bottom of your rib cage, there are 2 ribs. They're called floating ribs, and they're not connected to the sternum. They're actually connected to the spine. And by expanding my ribs out to the side at the same time I take an incoming breath, I create a reserve tank of air that I'm not going to use. I'm going to refill it before I use it.
I would just take big, huge gasps of air and just be like, and scream it out really fast. And it's and as soon as that air is gone, there's still more words to be saying.
When you're tired, man, that last song is tough. So you gotta have that little reserve tank, left over.
You don't need more air to sing. You need to manage the air that you have. If you take too much, you're not going to be able to manage it. And that's why we don't want to breathe in the upper chest. Because these muscles up here, when you take a big gulp like you think you need to, like that, what does it feel like? I feel like, I'm really full. I can't do anything with my voice because I'm full of air, and all you can do is let it all out. But these muscles that expand the rib cage, they have a slow release. Now, what I call that expansion of the rib cage is rotunda, because it feels like Madison Square Garden is sort of lodged in your rib cage. And if you're a girl, I call it strapless bra, because if you have a strapless bra that's too big for you and you have to get to the bathroom before it falls down under your dress, you have to expand your ribs. Like this. I wish I could be with you now, because I'd put my hands right on your rib cage and I'd make you make my hands move out to the side, but I can't be with you, so do this little test. Take your arms and point your fingers down to the floor. Now, pull your shoulders down and take the biggest gulp of air that you can without moving your shoulders and without moving your upper chest. Do you feel how the sides of your rib cage expand? That's rotunda, or strapless bra. And we're going to take a by the way, which is a little short breath, like, oh, by the way, in rotunda, strapless bra. And we're going to use the big mothership of the voice, which is called dump. I can put my hands on you, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, all right, okay. I have to ask. Okay, so, all right, so you're stuck in a barrel, okay? Right. And the only way that you're going to get out of this barrel, Houdini, is to split the sides with your rib cage as you take a by the way. Split the sides. Excellent. Okay, now, what I want you to do is I want you to do that again, but this time I want you to leave it out. Okay, so I want you to just leave it out. It's a muscle movement, you see. You could actually do that. You could do that without breathing, right? You can make that movement happen without breathing, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you're doing it, right? Yeah. That's rotunda, okay? And by the way is, right, okay, and it's quick, right? Now let me just take a look at the front and see if anything went up here. Nope, that's good. Okay, now, can you operate this without letting this go? Can you go... There you go. Okay, that's what you should feel like on stage, right?
Yeah.
That's what motorizes that sound to go whap, because it's going to do it from here, but you're not even going to feel this because it's the only way it can happen.
By the way, it's just about breathing like that way, not taking this huge gulp, but just...
It's good to have a lot of air, but you don't want to have to let it all out, because that's what happens. You get in this pattern of So if you just take a more moderate pace, like a, by the way.
Take the sound of S. Start very quietly. Get it louder. Boys, do you feel something pushing down into the floor that feels like you're taking a dump? Do this. Hey!
Hey!
That's wimpy.
I'm shy.
Come on.
Way shy. Hey!
Yeah, do you feel it there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That movement, right, is the thing that keeps you from going like that. Can you do it?
Hey!
Yeah, that's excellent. And for you girls, I call it baby, because if you've ever had a baby and they tell you to push down, it feels like your womb is going down into the floor. Now, if you haven't had a baby and you're younger, I call it the T, but you'll have to call my 1-800 number to find out what that is. We take a by the way in rotunda and we use dump or baby. And that dump or baby is your volume knob. That's the thing that gets it louder. It's not in your throat. It's down here. Feel how that pushes? That takes the wear and tear off those poor little vocal cords that are going to get very hoarse if you overuse them, like bang them to get volume. It's all about using this.
More dump!
The dump, the mighty dump.
The brown note.
The brown note.
The dump tone.
Have you ever tried to like remember somebody's name and you go, wait, your name is, I'm not breathing. As soon as you think about something, you stop the flow of the breath. You know what? If I just fell asleep on the horn of a cart, I went. I can go on forever, right? But if I go, okay, here comes that part. Oh, I'm running out of breath. You have to just relax. Just open up the valve and go, what? Easy. This is the most natural thing in the world. You started using this when you were born. You came out of the womb, the doctor spanked you, and your whole diaphragm started to work automatically. So I don't want you to think about dump, and I don't want you to think about baby. I just want you to know about it. I want the common sense in your mental hard drive so that the software works. But we need to concentrate on that by the way in rotunda so that the dump can work efficiently. And this is like a wave coming in.
It's all from here, right?
Yeah.
So we're checking.
Yes. Always.
Always.
But I don't want you to put your mind there.
No.
Okay?
That
Don't put
happened to
your
me when I
mind
first
there.
went to. I got really crazy about it, and I always just on stage I start thinking, am I doing from here, from here?
No.
But it went away. But I was so paranoid, and Todd's like, dude, relax. Don't even think about it. Just come. You know,
It
like,
comes. Inside the rib cage, there's this huge flat muscle called the diaphragm. Its sole purpose is to take air into your lungs and let air out of your lungs. And when you exhale, it moves up like this. And when you inhale, it moves down. When you exhale, it moves up. When you inhale, it moves down. What we're going to do is to operate that quite naturally with rotunda. So we're going to have a by the way in rotunda, and we're going to operate the diaphragm without losing the rib reserve.
When you're getting ready to sing a big part, or when you have a long phrase coming up, or a high note, or any of those things that normally I would have thought you should go, okay, really take gulp in like you're trying to suck in all the rest of the air in the whole world. She said, just sip a little breath.
Just to feel where the different air is going, and knowing that, like, you don't have to blast it all out, like, right from the beginning. That's another thing that most kids, like, every note when you're starting out, you just want to make it as powerful as possible. You find you can give it just as much volume and tone without losing all of your air at once, and that's a huge thing that she taught me. So, yeah, it gives you a lot more stamina.
Just took your last friend.
I've asked Josie, one of my students, to help me demonstrate some exercises that I want you to do every night before you go to sleep for a couple of weeks.
You have to be able to have stamina and combined with the like craziness of being on stage and like running around and jumping around and flailing yourself about. It's really hard to, you know, just maintain the breath. And that was the first thing that she showed me was she laid me down on the, you know, you lay down on the floor and learn how to breathe.
Josie's lying down with her knees up, her back is nice and flat, her shoulders are nice and relaxed. I want you to take your left hand and make a fist, right? Take the top of your fist and place it on your lower floating ribs right there, okay? Make sure that your shoulders are nice and relaxed into the floor. Now I want you to take this hand and place it on your belly like that. The exercises that we're about to do involve separating your awareness of the rib cage expansion, your strapless bra, this movement of the up and down thing, which is sort of monitoring what the diaphragm is doing, and not using this at all. Okay? So the way the exercises work is I want you to exhale all the air out of your body, and I want you to breathe in through the nose for 8 counts. And as you breathe in for 8 counts, I want you to expand your rib cage. If you finish breathing in before 8, I don't want you to be tempted to take the rest of the counts up here. I just want you to expand to the count of 8 in your rib cage through the nose. After that, I want you to hold for 4 beats. Now, I don't want you to, you know, like hold your breath. I want you to like suspend, like you're a balloon in the Macy's parade. Okay? Just for 4 counts. Then I want you to open up your jaw, and I want you to exhale for 4 counts, letting your belly sink, and then exhale the other 4 counts and let your rib cage sink. Okay? Now we're going to wrap that around 3 times. Okay? So exhale and breathe in through the nose, expand the rib cage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave your rib cage out. Exhale. Open your jaw. And now the rib cage down. And do it all again. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Open your mouth and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rib cage down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Open your mouth. Exhale from the diaphragm. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the rib cage. 1, 2. Let it all out. That was terrific. Very good. Part 2 of these exercises. It's the same exact thing as what we did before. But instead of opening the mouth to exhale, we're going to kiss the lips and blow. So we're going to blow out the diaphragm for 4 beats and then let go of the rib cage for 4 beats. Shall we try it? Sure. Okay, ready? Exhale. And breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blow. 1, 2, 3 from the belly and down the rib cage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blow. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. Rib cage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rib cage down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Terrific. Now, exercise number 3 doesn't have an outgoing count. It's the same idea. We only do this one once, not 3 times. I want you to pretend that there's a little feather right here. We're going to keep that little feather in the air for as long as you can. Exhale. And breathe in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, and blow the feather. That's plenty of time. There's no note that you would ever hold longer than that.
The breathing exercise that you have to do before you fall asleep and the trainings that you do before you play a show,
are so beneficial. You lay in bed at night and practice, and then all of a sudden it's like a few shows later, you're like breathing differently on stage.
Some lines I'll try and sing where, you know, like going straight through it, it's a lot of syllables, it's a lot of words, and I'm probably like running around like an idiot, like jumping on kids' heads. So like, it's tough to get them all in, but you know, when you have more control over it, it's a lot easier.
I want you to take a by the way in strapless bra, and I want you to pant 10 times with your diaphragm only, keeping strapless bra tight. Okay. So it's like this. Take a breath in, and 7, 8, 9, 10, and on the 11th count, you let go of strapless bra. Here, turn around, let me help you. Okay, you're Houdini, right? I am a barrel, right? Houdini, the only way you can get out of this barrel is to split the sides with a by the way. Split the sides. Great. Up, no shoulders. Do it again. Split the sides. Good. Now pant 10 times. Now let go of strapless bra. That's the reserve. That's the thing you don't lose on stage. That's the thing that you just reboost again when you need a breath. So you're not going from 0 to 10 when you're taking a breath. You're just reboosting strapless bra. And this exercise is to help you feel this without thinking about it.
She taught me these breathing exercises, and I did them over the course of, like, after my first lesson, like 4 nights. And I haven't had to think about it anymore because I just do it automatically now. It was really quick, really easy.
Above the pencil, my clients hear it all the time. Above the pencil, above the pencil. And you'll see them walking around with a pencil in their teeth, practicing.
This is what happens when you're bad.
You feel the notes coming from over the pencil and like projecting onto wherever you're singing to, or you know, whoever your target audience is, and you feel it projecting over the pencil, which is from like here out.
When I think of my voice going over the pencil, my body does a series of things that I can't think about, but I can imagine it. And one of those things is my larynx, which holds my vocal cords, lies lower in my throat. Therefore, my throat becomes a big reverb chamber, and the vibration bounces off the skull bone. And it feels like it's going over the pencil. It's actually not coming from here. It's coming from here. But watch what happens when I put the pencil in my teeth and I sing the same pitch 2 different ways. One above the pencil and one below the pencil. Watch. E, 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 E. Do you notice how the one above the pencil is much rounder and more resonant, and the one below the pencil is kind of crunchy? It has nothing to do with the sound actually coming from here. It's just the amount of room for resonance. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep you from raising up for a high note and losing all your resonance and going, ee! Pitch plays a very important part in this, because if I pitch my notes above the pencil, I'm probably going to be spot on. But if I pitch from below the pencil, it's like right underneath the note.
I spent a lot of time singing in shitty bands and crappy PAs where you can't even hear yourself in the monitors. But it's almost like you don't really need good monitors if you sing correctly the way Melissa tells you, because you pitch the sound right here in front of your face. And so now I realize when I'm singing in bands, I'm just listening to myself sing right in front of my face more than I am in the monitors. Mm-hmm. And that's the above the pencil concept that she taught us.
Look how my larynx rises on the second one and lowers on the first one. Watch. E, 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 E. Now that second sound, that below the pencil, is a sound that we're going to use a lot with the screaming and the heat and the fire. But in our warm-up, we're going to work going over the pencil or lowering the larynx.
You know, it helps to elevate your game, I think, a little bit. You know, you're trying these things that you're not, you know, used to doing, but after months and months of doing it, you realize, wow, I'm kind of hitting these notes now.
There's like a little thing in your head that just flips, and you can feel it vibrate in your ears, and it's just like, it's coming from a different place, so it's not all on your throat.
Heat and fire are more aggressive vocal sounds that involve the false chords as well as the regular chords. I want you to think about this above the pencil, even though the sound is actually below the pencil. That is the nature of the sound.
When she taught me how to do it out of here, it made so much difference that it was like, it's astounding. I've never, like I said, never lost my voice. I can hear the pitch a lot better.
Because when you think about it over the pencil, you're not going to hit it so hard. Do the lowest and the highest that you can do in a scoop without going underneath, like this. Do this. No, it won't be my pitch. It'll be yours. Okay, now you started down here. I want you to start up here. Just that's it. That's it. Okay, you try it. Okay, you started down here. I want you to think. Just don't do anything. Just think up here. Just think up here. There you go. Okay, very good. Okay, so now pencil duty is over. Vocal cords stretch for higher notes and they loosen for lower notes. But there's a set amount of notes that is accommodated in each gear. And there's almost like a clutch and a shift that has to go on in order to make it to the next note. What we have is people that reach up and reach up and reach up and reach up and reach up for the high notes and then scoop down and scoop down and scoop down for low notes. Because those gears make it feel like there's a ceiling and a floor. That's called static registration. Dynamic registration is being able to move through those gears without a change of voice. And what that clutch really is, it's the dump or the baby that's helping the vocal cords come together smoothly as they stretch and loosen and not slip.
You don't realize how many different ways there are of singing a note, and she teaches you this pattern where you can take a note that you usually, it's very guttural, and making it more, I hate to say nasal because a lot of people use nasal tone when they're singing, but when you can bring it up, when you can bring the note up and you actually feel it in a different spot on your body, you realize that, you know, she's taught you something new.
In other words, instead of going, we're going to go from east to west, not from north to south. So there will be no more low notes and there will be no more high notes. They were just notes.
For example, in some of our songs, there's high notes, and I would think, there's no way I'm going to be able to ever sing that. You know, I did it once on the album, and it's a lost cause. But she said, no, it's all a matter of how you approach it, how you think about it. You have to say, I can hit that note. You have to hit it like it was the lowest note, like the easiest note. And thinking about things in that way was totally different. I used to psych myself up and think, build it up to this huge point of tension and anticipation. Here comes that note. How am I ever going to hit it? You know, and never get it. And she would say, you got to lose that. You got to feel, not even be confident, but be certain that you're going to be able to hit that note. And we're going to work on it until you do.
Air passes through the windpipe, through the larynx, and the vocal cords tap together very quickly, vibrating, making sound. That happens when you speak and when you sing. Vocal cords are muscles. When you overuse your muscles, they swell up. Your vocal cords get puffy, and all of a sudden they don't touch anymore because they're too puffy. Except sometimes they accidentally touch.
It's not like a guitar. You can't really change the tubes and your amps and the strings on your guitar and be like, boom, fresh. Your throat, this is all you got, so you got to take care of it.
If you do a tour and you keep banging those chords, even when they're puffy, they're going to get really pissed off, and they get warts or scar tissue on it, or nodules, or they get blisters, which are full of fluid, polyps. And what happens then is that this bump closes before the cord closes, and high Courtney sound.
I went through a lot of recording, years ago, where I really would hurt my voice really badly, and it would, you get that weird mucusy, like it tastes like there's blood in your throat. There probably is. And I know a lot of bands, actually. I'm friends with other singers who say that they lose their voice after every show, and that blows my mind.
Not losing my voice was a big thing always happening. I always strained my voice. I always had a sore throat. I was always stressed about, oh my God, am I going to be able to sing tomorrow? Should I drink tea? Should I suck on these lozenges? Should I have honey? All that stuff. And she definitely taught me how to sing right, because I wasn't singing right for a long time. I would feel it in my voice after I played. You're not supposed to do that. you know? When I first started to be able to sing and then talk after the show, it sounded totally normal. I was like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Not once have I gotten hoarse. Since her lessons. And we've been on tour for 2 months.
If you have swollen cords, in other words, if you're hoarse, you need to shut up. You need to learn vocal rest. Vocal rest is when you say nothing, you write notes. And if you've completely lost your voice, I, as your voice teacher, will tell you you have to shut up for 5 days. But for some people, that's not possible. And so I have my speech warm-up for that.
Before, I was losing my voice every 5th show, and I would lose it. It would be gone. It would be gone for 3 days, and then I'd get it back. And it was just a routine that I knew I'd have to deal with. And I tried to take all the precautionary measures. I would, take Vocalese, drink tea, sort of take it easy on myself. But now I don't lose I haven't lost my voice since then.
Everyone thinks there's a secret to restoring it, but there's not. It's just like, you can drink apple juice or whatever juice or this kind of thing or suck on this root, and it's you just gotta. These lessons are preventative, so if you follow the lessons properly, you won't have to worry about losing your voice.
I want to remind you of the buzzwords or the key ideas that we've discussed so far that make your voice work very efficiently without thinking about it. First, we have a by the way, which is a little breath that goes in rotunda or strapless bra.
By the way, yeah, I really like that. I told that to people, and everyone I've told that to say, "Oh, that's so true. That makes so much sense."
By the way, you kind of just quickly get air into the bottom of your rib cages instead of breathing from your chest and making your chest go up, getting your rib cages to expand out a little bit, and you have that extra reserve of air there.
And the voice goes over the pencil.
I think about over the pencil, and I think about air, and I think about relaxing and dropping my jaw. And if I didn't go to Melissa, I wouldn't be thinking about any of that shit. I'd be lost.
Yeah.
And if it gets loud, we use the dump or baby.
Always more dump. All I hear is Melissa, more dump.
More dump.
Melissa's got away with words.
When I'm on stage singing, I'm not thinking about, dump or rotunda necessarily, but I have just maybe a subconscious flash.
All about the dump.
It's all on the
dump, you dump. Yeah, the dump. Don't slam dunk your note.
Listen to Melissa. She's very good. She knows exactly what to do. So do it.
The best thing that you can do for a sore voice or a hoarse voice is to shut up. That's the best thing that you can do. You really need to learn how to do vocal rest. What that means is 24 hours, absolutely no sound, write notes. It's hard to do, but it really works.
There's been times when me and Todd didn't talk like on a 12-hour drive. Remember that? I remember when it was. Because our shit was short.
Australia. We didn't talk for 12
Tried to
hours.
talk it on. It works, man. You keep your mouth shut. That's the hardest thing.
This speech warm-up is for you if you are sick, if you are hoarse, and you have to speak during the day so that your speaking voice doesn't further aggravate your situation.
Speech warm up. Warm your speech up, children.
You don't want to put on a different face or a different technique to sing. You need to sing as you speak and speak as you sing. Watch this. I'm speaking above the pencil. I'm speaking below the pencil. I'm speaking above the pencil. I'm speaking below the pencil. It's the same pitch, but I'm changing my placement above the pencil when I'm speaking. And that helps me live this placement all the time.
Your head goes.
Yeah.
Like
buzz in your head.
Your head vibrates from the whole idea of making your voice your face almost.
Yeah. It's
over the
It's like
over
it's
the
kind of
pencil.
like playing a horn instrument and having them clean your whole pipes out.
Yeah.
there you go.
One bad habit in speech that transfers to singing is the glottal attack. It's when your vocal cords slam together for a word that starts with a vowel, like everything, always, all. When you sing like that, you lose the momentum of the breath. Okay, I heard all this I heard everybody's throat going right? Those are called glottals, right? We're going to take those out.
She really helped visualize standing at one side of the room and throwing your voice to hit a certain point on the wall, like way over there. And that really helped rather than just like blurting it out and like just like quacking some attempt at a note. It was like you kind of see it and just throw it and it hits it.
I call that the launch. In other words, if I'm launching a frisbee, I have this nice way. You see how the air carries the vowel? Not going way, right? So I have nice flowing movements. There's a painter, Jackson Pollock. He used to throw the paint in the moment, and that's what I want you to do with your voice. Throw those vowels. Throw them. Throw them. Think of them as nice lines going across the back of the club.
Aye.
Good. Do it again.
Aye.
It also helps a certain student that is very trained. There's nothing wrong with being trained. But if it makes you think about your singing and do special things to sing, it's so false and so dishonest. But if I can get these techniques into your speaking, and you speak as you sing, and you sing as you speak, that's what we're looking for. Hey! Whoa! No! It's always a vowel that launches. It's not a or a sh or a s. It's always a vowel that you throw, right? And that's the whole, kind of overall zen of it. These are the exercises of the speech warm-up. What I want you to remember is that the breath comes in through the nose and the sound comes out through the mouth. So it's kind of like wave in and wave out. There's a nice smooth momentum always going on. Now the first exercise is interval breathing. We're going to take 3 large breaths and 5 normal breaths. 2 large, 5 normal, 1 large, 5 normal. Now the large breaths, we're actually going to expand rotunda or strapless bra. And then we're going to let it all go. We're going to actually collapse the rotunda. On the normal breaths, we're going to expand rotunda on the first one, and we're going to use the diaphragm without using rotunda. In other words, just do small breaths in the diaphragm 5 times in between the large breaths, like this. Breathe in and let it out. And breathe in and let it out. And breathe in and let it all out. Now the normal breaths, we're going to take a breath expanding the rib cage, and we're going to just use the diaphragm. And let it all out. Now we're going to take 2 large breaths and let it all out. And again, and let it all out. Now 5 normal, diaphragm only. And let it all out. Now 1 large breath and out. And 5 normal. 1, 3, 5, and let it all out. Now when you do that, what I want you to do is to feel the air move through every part of your body, your fingertips, your toes. Your voice is made of air. And when you wake up in the morning, you don't feel like that. You need to make sure that your body understands that it's full of voice and air together.
The breathing thing is definitely a big help. Like now, instead of being all exhausted after doing say a couple of seconds scream, I'm not that way anymore because she taught me breathing exercises.
When I'm feeling bad, I do the breathing exercises and I feel better. I feel looser. I feel good. Mm-hmm. And without her, I wouldn't feel like that.
We're going to breathe in, and instead of letting out air, we're going to let out a deep hum. And we're going to rev it up like a machine, like a lawnmower. So we're going to start low like a moan, but we're going to and we're going to go for this maximum buzz in your head. Now you can play around with the pitch. I want you to find your pitch. Don't use my pitch. My pitch is my pitch. Your pitch is yours. So don't copy my pitch. Just find the deepest hum that buzzes in your head that you can. I want you to take a breath in, moan, Like a cow mooing. Yeah, it's like, right? It revs up, okay? Good. Excellent. Machine. Beautiful. That's great. That's excellent. Now I want you to take a breath in through the nose, and I want you to do what I call Mickey Mouse opera. I want you to hum, but I want you to squeeze it up as if Mickey Mouse was like, me, 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 me. So you're going to breathe in, and me, 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 me. Now you see how I dropped that E? I dropped it so that it actually like felt like it went over the pencil. Hand signals optional. Me, 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 me.
It always makes my ears itch.
That's a good thing. So get used to that. I want those itchy ears. That means that your voice is resonating and that your larynx isn't raising up. That is the real estate from where the speaking voice is going to come from. So from now on, throughout the day, you are going to be speaking from this knee place, not from down here. Okay? So what we're building on is the zen of your speaking voice coming through in a certain way. We're going to continue by going me, ni. So it's M for 2 beats, E for 2 beats, N for 2 beats, and E for 2 beats, like this. Now we're going to take me and add a vowel to it. The vowels are ah, I, o, a, and oo. We're going to breathe in and rev up the me and then open up the vowel and try to maintain a semblance of the E buzz in the vowel.
Vibrate your head, kids.
Ya. Now I'm going to add 2 vowels. When you memorize this speech warm-up, you can pick your pairs as you wish. I want 10 pairs. We're going to precede it with the me, and we're going to open up into 2 vowels, like this. Me, o, a. Me, I, o. Now we're going to do the numbers. We're going to do me 1-9, me 2-9, me 3-9, all the way up to me 10-9, like this. Remember, it's like a chant. The breath comes in and the sound comes out.
E19.
E29. E39.
E49.
E59.
E69. See, I clipped it.
Because you don't like to hold on to E69.
Okay.
Because that.
Right. E69.
That's it. You want to get to the from the I to the I as
Right.
fast as you can. I69.
Right.
You want to get the consonant in and out quick. E79. E89. E99.
E10.
You're ready to speak through the day, above the pencil.
That's all we can show you right now.
That's the start of it.
That's our special one.
The rest is top secret. Go see Melissa.
A lazy tongue makes you lose your breath pressure. If you have a mushy tongue, you're probably going to compensate for it with some other muscle in your body. These are the tongue exercises.
Ladies, take notes.
I want you to stick your tongue out and touch your chin. Of course you can't, but try. Then move it up. So it's up and down 4 times, like this. Next one is from side to side, like this. 4 times. Right, left, like this. Now we're going to draw a circle. 4 circles clockwise and 4 circles the other way. Really reach that tongue, like this. Okay. Now we're going to groove the tongue like this, and then flip it out against your bottom teeth like this. Now we're going to make a circle inside the mouth with the tongue. 4 counterclockwise and 4 clockwise. Now we're going to do the lip exercise. We're going to do 4 to the right and 4 to the left. Circle the entire lips, like this. We're going to make our face really big and then scrunch it up in a little ball like this. Ready? Now do him.
Did you make Brian Fair do that?
Man, if that shit ever got out on the internet, yo, I would have to kill somebody. That is some embarrassing shit.
I would love to see him do
But maybe he did. Maybe he did. I think we were working on singing stuff. Yeah, I think we did that.
Did you guys have to do big face, little face?
No.
The tongue exercises?
No.
Oh, you guys didn't get
We're
to.
amateurs.
You didn't get the and then it's like big face, little face.
Really?
Yeah, and all this crazy shit. Yeah, like crazy turns.
Yo, she knows how to open you up, man.
Yeah, I think she did that with me because I have problems enunciating.
Terrible, dumb, whatever, favorite. You see how I'm like losing a ton of air on the first consonant? This exercise helps us learn how to tighten up those consonants. So we're going to start with T and D. Now, T and D are the same sound. It's just that T has no voice in it and D has a little bit of voice in it. So if we have a T, it's not T, but T. See how nice and tight that is? And with a D, it's not duh, but D. We waste a lot of energy by going buh and buh, right? So these are consonants that we're trying to like maintain like air pressure without wasting it by going buh, 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 because that's where pushing comes from.
Right.
It's like instead you want this like you feel that stability in your diaphragm? Good. Excellent. No, not
wait.
It's not fuck, but and there are two THs, one with a voice and one without, like this. Good. If you try this, you will feel an intense connection with your diaphragm. All singers have to work on their jaw. We like to hold our identity in our jaw. We tighten our jaw so much that we don't even know it's tight. But it's important to the sound to loosen the jaw because it actually has something to do with the placement of the voice box. So we need to learn how to let the jaw hang out. What I'd like for you to do is take your index finger and open your mouth, 2 knuckles on your index finger like this. You might want to do this in front of a mirror, like this. Now take your finger away, right, and leave your mouth open. And see how my tongue is very flat, almost leaning against my bottom lip? Like this. I want you to say la and ga, but I don't want you to flip your tongue like this. I don't want la, ga, but look at this. Look how flat my tongue is. La, ga, la, ga. Now, if you look at my jaw, you see that my jaw is doing all the work here. It's very loose. It's almost released from here, from the TMJ. So you can see my entire jaw do the movement instead of my tongue flipping. That tongue flipping and that g in the G actually destroys the vowel that comes after it. So we need la, ga, not ga. So what I'd like for you to be able to do is la, ga, la, ga, la, ga, la, ga, la, ga, la, ga. Practice that and make sure that your tongue is flat.
After you try it and try it and try it and try it, you can totally feel the difference in your voice.
You gotta lose your ego. You have to lose your ego.
Definitely the funniest and the most difficult for those of us who may be slight short-term memory deprived, to put it nicely. The manale, manile exercise where like it's just you have to do the syllable warm-up, and it's a great warm-up, and it gets your tongue moving, and it gets your jaw moving and everything. But like just to remember the patterns, you know.
As you can see, there is an H sideways with vowels located at certain points. First we have the vowel ah, then we have a, then we have e, then a, then ah, then aw, then oo, then ah, and back to ah. What I want you to do is take M and N and L and put ma, na, la, and there we are at the center of the figure of 8. Then we're moving to me, ne, le, mi, ni, li, me, ne, le, ma, na, la, mo, no, lo, mu, nu, lu, mo, no, lo, ma, na, la. I want you to do this very continuously like you're chanting.
Oh God, manala, meaningly, manala, but I can never remember the pattern. I have to look at the little chart when I do it.
Manala, menele, minili, menele, manala, monala, munulu, monala, manala.
Manala.
Menele.
Menele.
Minili.
Minili.
Menele.
Menele.
Manala.
Manala.
Monolo.
Monolo.
Munulu.
Munulu.
Manala.
Manala.
Manala, menele.
Manala menele.
Okay, see how you cut it off
Yep.
a little bit? Right there.
Right.
Okay, don't want to cut off the air. Just let it fly.
Manala menele.
Right, manala menele, let it go.
Manala menele.
Okay, manala menele.
Manala menele.
Right, careful not to let it go. Right,
Right.
manala menele, let it like.
Manala menele.
Manala menele, minili menele, manala monala munala monala manala.
Menele minili.
Minili menele.
Minili menele.
Manala monalo.
Manala monolo.
Munulu manala.
Munulu manala.
Manala menele.
Manala menele.
Good. Now we're going to take P, T, and K. Padaka, pedike, 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 padaka, podaka, puduku, podaka, padaka. But we'll have to do that later.
And that will make you lose your mind.
Poptica, peptica, peeptiki, peptica, poptica, poptico, pooptico, poptico, poptica.
It's amazing, Melissa. How do you do that?
What this is for is to help you get a flow with your speaking so that you're not holding your breath and not holding back, but you are flowing with your air and flowing on the vowels, and that your singing is also very smooth.
When you're training and when you're really trying to perfect what you're doing, there's a lot that you just have to let go. You have to let go of your ego, and you have to realize if you're a serious vocalist, there's a lot that you have to do that's embarrassing, but it's only better for you in the long run.
The biggest problem that most people have is they're so self-conscious about it that they feel so weird doing it that you just kind of have to get in that not give a fuck mode and just like do it.
Audiating is something that you have to do if you play a violin or a fretless bass or a cello, something that doesn't have frets or black and white keys to tell you where the note is. Singing is like that too. I don't have any black and white keys or frets. I have to hear the note, feel the note, and go for it. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to play arbitrary notes on the piano. And I'm not going to audiate. I'm just going to slap it out there. But hear that little scoop that happens every time I hit the note? If you're not audiating, you are searching for the note instead of nailing the note. And as you're searching for it, you're using a lot of energy and you're destroying it. I call it search and destroy. Audiating is putting a sixth sense in the back of your head all the time, so you always aim the ball. You hear it before you get there. There's a little voice on your shoulder that says, "It's here, Melissa," and I say, "Okay, I'm there," and I go, "ee," all in a split second. E, 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 E.
One thing that she showed me that was really important with me and my brother, because my brother sings a little bit, is audiating. I think there's audiate, I think. Basically hearing the note before you sing it and understanding what that note is before you push it out of your voice. Because if you don't know the note, no one else is going to know the note, and you're not going to know the note. So, like, what I do is when I'm playing or something, I'm singing, I make sure that I hear the note in my head before I sing it, and then once I sing it and I do like get my breath and I come out with it, I hit it because I know what the note is.
I've had a little more confidence of knowing that I could hit notes once, because I never sang along with a piano or anything like that. So once you know you're nailing something, there's no like gray area. It's like, this is the note. And so when I would be singing or tracking or doing, you know, like live shows, I had a little more confidence knowing that I was nailing stuff, and that's something I noticed different. And even our sound guy noticed that. He's like, when you just go for it, you nail it because you just know it's there, you know. And before, I probably wasn't doing that. I was probably a little more timid, or just thinking I was nailing a note, but didn't even have the correct like pitch in my head because I don't know. I used to just be a kid in a hardcore band screaming. So, you know, it definitely it helped quite a bit.
And here. Okay, remember what I said about audiating, right? You don't want to go me, slide up to it, but you want to, like, when you hear the note, there's a little voice inside you that goes, okay, it's right here, and you go, okay, I'll get there, and you go, e, all in a split second. So you don't just go, me, but you actually audiate. You acknowledge where the pitch is before you get there. There are some pitfalls with pitch that I want to tell you about. Often people miss a note when it's the same note as the note before it. For instance, like in Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, twinkle, those are both the same note. Twinkle, twinkle, those are both the same note too. But what a lot of people do is they change the second note because they're not acknowledging that it's the same. They make it move. So it sounds like twinkle, twinkle. It does that. I know you hear that a lot.
A lot of people when they sing need to build themselves up into the pitch, and she taught me to hit the pitch right away. And I think that's like a huge part of it.
Often the first two notes of a line have words like and I or if, it, or little tiny words that don't really mean a lot. And you have your kind of eye on the money note that's after that. A lot of people miss those two notes because they don't acknowledge the exact location. They think they know the song, but they go, if there's anything, if there's a, it's if there's a, and the other pitfall is the end of the line, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot. They throw away the last line because they really don't know where it is, so they give it a lot of tood and just kind of throw it away, so every line goes, so if there's anything that you want, if there's anything I can do, you know, that's so lame. You need to know what the notes are. It sounds so much better when you do.
I'll go ahead and I'll jump to the front of the crowd, and I'll still be singing, but once you get that pitch in your head, you can kind of go from that point.
I have this great exercise for you to do with your tunes before you record them or perform them. It's called my hee-hee treatment or restatement exercise. And what you're going to do is you're going to create like a dot drawing of the song. You're going to take the syllable he, and above the pencil he, like a monkey, not e. You're going to have a little H there. And every note of the song gets a he.
Oh, the monkeys.
Yes, monkeys.
Like
Yes, you're a monkey.
You're a monkey noise, bro.
I ain't making no monkey faces for the camera, yo.
There you go. You got a really lock. They're called monkeys. That's it. Good. Okay, love your smile, but don't use it for this. It's your tight jaw, that's loud. Good. If your song was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, it would be above the pencil, See, all the notes were above the pencil, right on top of the note. What happens is that once I sing the words, twinkle, twinkle, I totally nail those notes because I've created that template. So when I sing the song, it sort of snaps into the grid. It really works, and it's especially good for going into the studio.
Life's embrace.
Ready? Here we go. And. Oh, sounds like the Barbershop Quartet.
For anybody that's following a band that you know has had vocal training, if you know that they've gone to a vocalist before they've done their CD, you'll hear a difference.
I went through with vocal ideas I had when we only had demos before I had really recorded vocals, and I would sing her the melody line, and she'd find it on the piano and help me like nail it right to it, and that was huge because she didn't try and change what I was writing or anything like that. She just found where that was and made sure I could hear that in my head, and know that those are the notes. That's what I'm hitting, and I would like just practicing that before I got to the studio was huge, because you can practice with the band in the practice space and you're screaming along, but you're probably not gonna really hear exactly what's going on. This is like straight up you and the piano. You gotta nail it. That's all it is, And even sometimes a technique she had taught me was a way to kind of sound those out with tones that like weren't the actual words, just finding the notes. And I would even play those sometimes on a keyboard at home or on a guitar, and have those along with the track, and so you're nailing it.
In the studio, the smallest mistake makes such a big difference because people aren't looking at you, they're just listening to it. So every little mistake that you make pitch-wise is huge.
She was listening to our CD, she's like, this part is a little out of key. She's like, I don't think anybody will notice, but I do. And that was like all I needed to know, that like, she explained it to me. It's like, you're right, that part she played on the piano, this is where the note should be, this is where it was, and that's it.
You also spend loads of extra money correcting pitch things. If you do a hee-hee treatment, you'll save money, and it'll sound a lot better.
Melissa kind of reiterated something I always felt was important to this style of music, is kind of screaming with a pitch as well. Like knowing that there is a note that the scream or the yell, even just like a hey, would be like a certain tone that you want to hit, note, and assign those kind of in your head as you're screaming them. After a while it'll become automatic, but I like to scream with pitch because the kind of the riffs we have are more melodic, and like they'll be hitting a lot of notes and doing harmonies, and I don't want to like just be screaming in kind of like one repetitive kind of grumbling tone. Give it a little spice, and that's something that once you do start practicing with the piano, even if you're not singing clean parts, those to be able to pitch those screams and really nail them to a note or to a chord progression will just really I think it steps up your sound, and I think it just kind of can help you in the song as a metal singer who's just screaming, kind of how to help within the songwriting and give it some sort of that kind of hookiness, and that catchiness. So and it also just the variety as well. So yeah, it's a cool thing to learn because you don't need to just do the typewriter death metal. No. Boo.
I want to feel like my pitch is on all the time. I want to feel like when I sing, people aren't thinking, yeah, he can sing a little. I want people to be like, damn, that guy can sing. Whether it be screaming, yelling, or regular melodic singing, I want people to be like, damn, that guy's good.
Before we ever sang anything melodic, we all kind of looked at people like that it was like maybe
a little bit much,
a little nerdy. And then now that, doing something that's more melodic, and we're both coming from hardcore where you scream more, and now you do something a little more melodic, and you see that it actually pays off. It actually helps.
You need to sing in your right range. You need to develop the center of your voice. Your range will improve if you work from the center. I can't tell you how many students I've had that come in with really deep voices and say, I really like the way Chris Cornell sings. Can you make me sing like that? It's so stupid because you don't want to sing like Chris Cornell. Let Chris Cornell sing like Chris Cornell. You want to sing like you sing, and you want to give people the same feeling that Chris Cornell gives you when he sings. So it's not about singing his notes. It's about singing in the proper place in your voice.
I can imitate other singers' voices fine, but I'd rather find my own niche, because that's what when I respect someone's voice that's unique, like, it's because they sound completely different from anyone else.
I knew a lot of singers that I loved, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't sing like them, and I realized that trying to was a bit futile, because not only was it very hard to sing like them, but they were already singing in that voice, and I wanted to find my own voice.
Sometimes I have a student who tells me that their guitar player can't play it in that key because it's in an open tuning. And I'm telling you, there is a way to work it out. It's much better to change the guitar part and accommodate your voice in the right key.
The advice I would give to someone who's starting to sing is really focusing on finding like what you do well, and really finding your own range and your own kind of little, I don't know, like just find that quality about your voice that you like and feel comfortable with.
A lot of people sing too high. That's because they think it sounds angst. But that angst comes from the heart. It should not come from your throat. doesn't do anything, right? And the whole world's up. See, that sounds just as anxious, and it's in the right place.
That's another huge thing, is just writing within your range, and that's something that she'll really, like, you don't want to try and do these things that you know are going to actually push you into your kind of like red zone, you know, like, or you know, force yourself to do things that don't feel that, you know, comfortable, because you probably are doing damage.
When you're writing songs in your bedroom on the bed, and you're afraid the neighbors are going to hear you, you're probably going to be using a light registration. So you kind of go like this, and you go like this, right? Then you get to the band rehearsal, and everything seems too low. And that's because there's a whole different MO that happens when you use your voice at full volume. Twinkle, 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 twinkle. That's the same note, but the light one sounds higher in my bedroom. So don't try and figure out what your key is sitting on your bed. You need to use the whole machine to find out what your range is. Now, range is not about how high you can go and how low you can go. It's basically finding the center of your voice.
Your voice is different than my voice, different than your voice, different than your voice.
I really, really want to work on my range and see what I can do with my voice. And then I don't want to sound forced. I kind of want to find what my voice really does by itself, you know. I don't want to imitate anyone else.
One way is to check out your speaking voice. It's usually a dead giveaway. There are some exceptions to this. But if you have a really deep voice, you're probably a baritone. And if you have a higher voice, more crystalline sounding, you're probably a tenor. If you have a really deep female voice, you're probably an alto. And if you have a lighter voice up here that's on the thinner side, not thin, but crystalline kind of, you're probably a soprano.
Being baritone's like being Barry White, and being tenor's like being Ronnie James Dio, you know?
We're working on this song, but I don't know what your voices are like, right? Who sings high?
Steve sounds like Rick James.
Think about audition. Let me hear Rick James.
I don't know any Rick James.
You're a baritone. I can tell by the way you talk.
It means you get all the bitches.
Yeah. It's like
That's
Barry
right.
White, you know what I'm saying? Ronnie James Dio.
During the speech warm-up, we started out with a breath and then a hum. And we found that above the pencil E from the hum, if your hum is coming out in this note here, somewhere around B or B flat, you're probably a baritone. And if you're a tenor, you are probably feeling that resonance somewhere around maybe C sharp or D or maybe C. And these are all below middle C. If you are a mezzo or an alto, you are probably feeling that buzz in the speech warm-up somewhere around maybe A or A flat or G. And if you're a soprano, you're probably feeling it around B, right below middle C, B flat, maybe, or even C. Now, if you're under 20, you are probably a soprano because the voice usually doesn't darken or deepen until after the age of 20. So I would start there.
It's when you're trying to force things that aren't there, or even trying to sing in ways that your voice may just not be designed for, you know. So those are the ways you can damage yourself. So you kind of need to really just feel it.
If it hurts, it's wrong. You're in the wrong range. If you're reaching up for your voice like this and everything seems too high, you're in the wrong place. You will be able to extend your range if you start from the center and practice properly from there. Just because you're a tenor does not mean you cannot sing low. And just because you're a baritone does not mean you cannot sing high. And because you're a soprano does not mean that you can't sing low. And if you're an alto, it doesn't mean you can't sing high. It's the center of your voice. It's the color. It's the timbre. You want to work from the center of your voice and extend your range from there.
No matter how hard I would try to sing high, even when I did sing high, it still sounded low. You know, that's called the formant. Like some people can sing really low and their voice still sounds high. But you could sing that same melody at the same pitch with a different sound. You know what I mean? So I have a low sounding voice, and I had to come to accept that. No matter how high I wanted to sing, even when I did sing the highest notes I could, it would still be a low sound. And I ended up embracing that and getting into it and deciding that singing my way was the only way I could sing anyway.
days when you have to warm up for 45 minutes backstage and embarrass yourself. It's not necessary. This warm-up can be done any time of the day. If you do it at 7 in the morning and your gig is at 10 p.m. or 12 o'clock, you're done. You do not have to do it again, unless you take a nap. If you take a nap, your body is going to forget everything. This is not about aerobically working out your vocal cords. This is a mind-body connection. That's what it's all about. So it's kind of like yoga, except yoga is kind of like an inward thing, and this is like an in-to-out thing. It's the feelings. They're industrial sounds. Do not sing. Do not sound pretty. Do not sound like anything. Just be the industrial noise.
The warm-up things was just kind of like never a part of like what we did, you know? And then, I mean, I've heard of guys from this band and that band and, oh, you know, they go get singing lessons and that and this and that. I mean, that's cool, you know, but that was kind of never part of our scene. But, you know, then I saw Toby, you know, doing the warm-ups.
Gia, 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 Gia.
Great.
Gia, 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 Gia.
It's like, you know, you go to play a game of basketball, you stretch out your legs. You know, you go to lift weights, you do a little warm-up beforehand. It's like your voice is a muscle. It's common sense. Just people are lazy and...
You gotta warm it.
Yeah.
Warm it, flex it.
That's right. Warm it up.
I started doing that with Toby, and I was like, you know, I wasn't ashamed. I wasn't, like, ashamed to try it out. I wasn't, like, too cool to try it. I just never, you know, it was just never part of our thing, you know. It was just, but once I started doing it with him, it's like, wow, I kind of like this. This could be helpful.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Definitely, like, the warm-up can help build a lot of stamina.
The stamina that she's helped me gain has helped me sing and scream notes for so much longer.
I'd never really warmed up outside of maybe like softly singing along to some things to kind of, you know, just get into the groove. And once I started actually warming up, I noticed a huge difference, mostly in that you come in during your first song like as strong as you are on your third, whereas sometimes before I would be warmed up by my third song because I hadn't sang at all.
You walk back here behind second stage, you see people fucking ripping solos and pricing their drums. It's like, well, all right, I might not be the most proficient at writing music, but I'm going to, you know, focus on exactly what I can do.
If you write lyrics and you sing,
Yeah,
you write music.
and if I have to walk around doing vocal exercises that make me feel embarrassed about myself, fucking get over it, man. You know, like, this isn't the place to have an ego.
Doing things like guillots that other people might go, oh, that's stupid, oh, look, he's warming up. Hey, you know, I know I'll do better by doing it, so silly or not.
There were times where I couldn't play, and I was really nervous, and I put the tape in, and I did my exercises about 4 times over for the 2 hours before I was going on, and I nailed the shows. And it actually got me to where I'm getting. And I have no one else to thank but Melissa for that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
I've been in situations where I couldn't even speak, and it was just a matter of believing in myself and taking the lessons in and letting it feel smooth.
Singing is a situation where, much like sports, for example, the effort and time and focus you put into practice can then be applied to a performance situation.
After Melissa, our sets changed because before I was like, all right, any singing that has to be done, put it in the first 3 songs because after that I'm fucking done.
Blown.
Yeah, there's no way. But now it's like,
Now
now we can mix it up. Now I can do whatever I want, whenever I want because I know how to do it.
Set too.
Yeah.
You're going to see some instructions on how to do the exercises. You're going to hear different students with different types of voices encountering some pitfalls, some good things about what they do, and you're going to learn how to execute the exercises. There's a CD included with this DVD that has your warm-up on it. Once you find out what your range is, you can use the CD to warm up with.
What I have on, like on CD that I put on my iPod so I can do the warm-ups, at the end of all the exercise, she goes, "Have a good show, Keith." And I'm like, "Thank you, Melissa." That's it, and I feel better about it. Yeah, she's very encouraging.
She sounds like a phone sex lady, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, she's super sultry.
The first exercise is Z's, and what I'm supposed to feel is the expansion of my rib cage and the lock between my breath pressure and my baby, or should we call it dump. It's an industrial sounding thing. I'm not singing, I'm making noise onto pitch. It goes like this. I'm going to do the same sound but different notes. These are the notes. Excellent.
Before you rock.
Powerhouse. The next exercise is called the French doorbell. I'm going to make 3 sounds, and they're pretty ugly. The first sound is the sound of a buzzer, but I call it the French doorbell because in French there's 2 letters, I and N, that sound like eh. So it sounds like eh, but you don't want to do the face with it like that. In this eh sound, I'm setting up the real estate from where our imagination is going to push our voice forward over the pencil. So when we're actually singing, we're not doing any sound like this or even thinking like this. I'm just setting up the essence of what it feels like to sing above the pencil. And I'm doing it by creating 3 different sounds that have a contrast. This first sound sounds like it's really tight right here, like a steel bookshelf right on my cheekbone. Great.
I hear the way I sound making like the French doorbell and shit. Man, this shit can't be public. Melissa, you keep that shit in the vault.
Now I'm going to switch that sound to an above the pencil E, and it's going to feel like a little click inside my head. You'll know when you get this. It feels like Now there's a third sound to this exercise. We're going to take that E and we're going to make it even deeper so it has even more of a low end sound to it. So all 3 together, it sounds like this. I'll do it again. Okay, that was good. Except that third sound, you're pushing down on your larynx too much. It's a real subtle shift. So I don't want to do that kind of thing because you are pushing way down. In other words, that actually hurts you.
Okay.
Because that's just as bad as like raising up. You know, it hurts. So I'm gonna go not e. Don't overdo that. Okay? Less caricature. It's an inside job. Ready? Perfect. Good. Take that third sound and move it across the.
Fuck.
Through the nose. Now I'm going to take that third sound that I ended up with in the French doorbell, and I'm going to drag it across these notes. But I'm going to drag it with the E on top of the notes, not underneath. So I'm going to be very careful to aim on top of the note. E, E, E. Do you notice how I didn't use my vibrato even though I was really tempted to make it sound better? I don't want you to channel opera singer when you use that sound, and that would be channeling vibrato. I don't want that to come into your singing without you wanting it to. Good. Now I'm going to take that same sound and do these notes on one breath. sometimes I ask people to use their arm. Good. Good. Scoop up your arm like that when you do it. So I want, do that. Right, you feel how that works? See that works? It totally works, right? But you went.
I do that, I go.
Like that, right? Okay. You see, but that image works. It's not like going reach, but scoop some up on the way, you know. I am the pitch. I want you to nail it. I want you to hear the note first, and I don't want you to think of anything except the note.
Okay.
Don't think about it's high, it's low. Hear the note and go there, right?
Okay.
So here's the note, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Right? Ready? Here we go. And. Did you hear that? Now, I think what's happening is that you're using that scoop thing that I'm telling you to do, you know, scooping down to pick up some mud on the way, but you're using it too much in terms of the pitch. I want it to feel like you're scooping, but I don't want it to sound that way. Okay. I don't want I want see how I go right over, back above the pencil? Right? Let's try it again. And. That was a glottal. Don't look so sad. Oh,
yeah.
No, that was a. You see how that like that e thing happened, right?
Yeah.
I went All right. Okay.
I think your CD bad, Melissa.
These notes like this.
You fucker.
So I'm going to take this note and I'm going to do me gi, like I'm chanting on top of a mountain. Me gi, right? And then I'm going to add to that a little, by the way, in strapless bra or rotunda if you're a guy. E. And I'm going to keep all the notes exactly the same. Me gi, When I do that yee sound, there's so much buzzing in my head. It feels like somebody's like massaging my brain. Me. Good. Me. Good. Excellent. And notice my jaw is completely loose. See that? Gia. I'm not going gia, but gia. Very important, loose jaw. Gia. When it gets up here, it's really hard because there's this little cracking thing that happens. It feels like a donkey. Those are register breaks. And this exercise really helps you to figure out how to smooth that break with the baby or the dump if you're a guy. Good. It's time for wee-oops. Both of these syllables are above my imaginary pencil. So I'm going wee-oop, wee-oop, wee-oop. Sounds like that cartoon that goes beep, beep. Except I'm using a W. weep, 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 weep. One more. Good. Nice. Weep, 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 weep. Weep, weep. Aha, busted. Okay, see how you just threw it out there? And it was like splat, right? Let's try it again, right? So how do we do that? We hear the note right before we get there, right? So at this point right here, I play this, right? And you go, okay, I'm coming there. Weep, 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 weep. Weep, 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 weep. That's it. Weep, 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 weep. Good. Weep, 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 weep. Weep, 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 weep. Weep, 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 weep.
Weep, weep, weep. We going now? Weep, 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 weep. Weep, 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 weep.
The next exercise is E-ah, E-ah, E. Now the top note is falsetto. Can you give me your falsetto on this note? Good, excellent. Okay, now the other two are not, so I want you to flip to your falsetto on purpose.
Okay.
On the ah, I want you to audiate that ah, right, as if you were going to swallow a tennis ball, and that tennis ball is the note. So I actually want you to hear the note in the roof of your mouth. See, I want the first note, the bottom one, to be above the pencil. I want ah, and then I want you to flip to your falsetto on the top note.
E-ah, E-ah, E.
Good, one more.
E-ah, E-ah, E.
Great, let's do one more.
E-ah, E-ah, E.
Great.
E-ah, E-ah, E. E-ah, E-ah, E. E-ah, E-ah, E. E-ah, E-ah, E.
Okay, watch that ah. You have to raise the roof of your mouth for that ah.
E-ah, E-ah, E.
Now I'm going to change the E-ah, E-ah, E to a Gi-ah, Gi-ah, Gi. Starting with this note. Gi-ah, Gi-ah, Gi. Gi-ah, Gi-ah, Gi. Gi-ah, Gi-ah, Gi.
E-ah, E-ah, E.
Good.
E-ah, E-ah, E.
Good.
E-ah, E-ah, E.
It's time for the half pipe. Here's my imaginary pencil. I'm going to take my imaginary skateboard and I'm going to make a half pipe above the pencil. I'm going to start with the syllable we, and I'm going to slide that we up and back down the half pipe. Good. Good. Travel at E like it's like a little bead on a wire. Like zip up that E. Okay. Zip it up. Good. Now we're going to do the same thing, except that instead of just sliding from one place to the other, we're going to put some notes in between. So it's going to have that same above the pencil half pipe thing, but we're going to do notes on the way. So instead of going, we're going, Wee, 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 wee. But it's nice and smooth like that. Ready? Start above the pencil and wee, 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 wee. Wee, 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 wee. Good. Wee, 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 wee. One more. Good. Wee, 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 wee. Excellent. Wee, 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 wee. Good. Wee, 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 wee. Wee, 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 wee.
Wee, 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 wee.
That's it.
Wee, 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 wee. Wee, 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 wee.
Wee, 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 wee. Wee, 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 wee.
Wee, 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 wee. Wee, 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 wee.
It's time for yayas. Yayas are about the jaw. I'm going to think of nothing except my jaw moving up and down for every note, especially on the high ones. Oftentimes, people will actually tense up for that high note, but if your jaw is loose, you can't tense your throat. It's mechanically impossible. So all I need you to think about on this one is keeping your jaw opening and closing, no matter what the note is. It goes like this. Ya, 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 ya. Ya, 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 ya. Ya, 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 ya.
Ya, 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 ya. Ya, 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 ya. Ya, 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 ya.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I love that one.
Flat tongue.
Yeah.
Tongue flat.
Chill out. Open mouth all the way. Ah, yeah, yeah.
Ya, 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 ya.
Excellent.
Ya, 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 ya.
Great. Ya, 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 ya. Good. Ya, 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 ya. Ya, 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 ya. Ya, 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 ya. Good. Ya, 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 ya. This is my hey-hey exercise. You take two hee-hees, one in this octave and one in this octave, and you put the top one up in the brain massage. You put the bottom one above the pencil. Careful not to go underneath the pencil. Like that. It's hey, hey. You see, I pitched my hey, hey, which is really a scream. I pitched it right where my little brain massage voice is. Gets me there every time. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Okay, I lost some. I got hey, hey. I want hey, hey. Up there on the pitch, right? Okay. And again.
Hey, hey!
Yes.
That's
right.
cool. I like that.
That's some silly shit, but it works, you know?
Now, the same exercise, but instead of hey, hey, I'm going to do ah, eh. E, e, ah, eh. E, ah, eh. E, ah, eh. Good. Great. Great.
You fucker. I'm over that CD. It's all skippy. It's horrible. Melissa, I'm coming to see you. So watch out. Time to get a new one. Time to go rock this show.
You smashed my CD?
I smashed it. I need to get a new one anyways. That thing lasted so long. I had it on my iPod crashed, and I had the CD, and then...
I can imagine you smashed it in style.
Yeah, it's great.
Those exercises are not for you to become the best singer in the world. Those exercises are not for you to become, you know, this or that or whoever you want to be. Those exercises are there to make you the best person that you are.
You don't do this warm-up to have the perfect voice. We're not going there. We're just going for a function that makes it easier.
To make the best out of, for what we have to work with.
To make you be able to express yourself
That's all I want.
easily without any kind of like limitation or, ooh, what's that? Or it's just like, it just comes out. That's the whole purpose.
The warm-ups in the studio helped a ton. Because I had never warmed up before we went on. You'd usually bang out a few rough tracks. This time I would go in, warm up for, you know, a good half hour or so, slowly, and just, you know, have some tea and chill out. And go in and just we would keep about 80% of the first take, you know? And it'd be like, all right, there, you know, like, work from there. So instead of, like, doing 4 or 5 takes to get warmed up. So it's a huge difference.
It makes it a lot easier for me to go out there and perform.
On a tour that we just recently did, there was one day where we didn't have a chance to, and I know I was cracking all over the place. Only one day on the whole tour where we were rushed getting on stage and we didn't have a chance to warm up or anything, so definitely saw the difference there.
It's funny because there was times where I was at shows. I think I went to see Newfound Glory, and H2O opened up, and I could hear through the wall Rusty from H2O doing it, and I was like, whoa, that's the same thing I do.
I've seen a lot of other people I know, like, warming up and watching other singers warm up.
But you don't want to slam dunk. Don't slam dunk the top note.
It's the swoop. Yeah,
that's a great one. Don't slam dunk the top note.
And everyone knows the little exercises, so you'll all be joking around like, oh, you know, did you do your hee-hee-hey-heys today?
And then
oh, that's where you change. Now you're dropping too much. Yeah, see?
Oh, you're below the pencil.
Wow.
Look at that.
I like a
pencil. No, below the pencil. Wait, a little more.
You're like a barbershop quartet right now.
One of my favorite warm-ups would be the guillots, which everybody in our band has grown accustomed and probably accustomed to and annoyed by, because I'll troop around before we play going, guillot!
My girlfriend hated it when I first came back from going here, because I was constantly going zzz. She's like, stop! Stop!
I kind of feel like a dork sometimes, but I'm just like, this is, you know, I'm working at something that's going to have, like, hopefully good results for me.
For me, it's the same thing as the drummer annoying on everything all over the place, you know, but as soon as I do the everyone's like,
oh, every exercise I won't do in front of people. There's no exercise that I will do in front of people.
It's not so much embarrassing, but yes, it's perhaps an awkward feeling, and I think that maybe you don't get over that. I just don't really care. I don't mind the silliness of it.
I don't get embarrassed by much of anything. So that is pretty obvious by the fool I make out of myself everywhere I go. So no, I'll do it. I don't care. I don't care.
Doing things like that helps also prepare you for performing in front of a lot of people where you're going to look silly no matter what. I mean, at least I do.
Yo, I don't warm up like in public. Like I'll hide somewhere in the van or the bus or like some back room in a janitor's closet. It's just embarrassing, but it must be done.
Some of the stuff sounds kind of funny, but when you do it, it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it totally works. I am the result.
Okay, so
I'm the result.
there are I, E, I, am, the, re, e, alt, right? So if you speak like that, right, with your tongue flat, right? Without any consonants, right? I am the. Right. Then you're on the same note, right? That's singing that. I am the result because
I am the result.
Right. So the consonant can't make a note. Doesn't make note. I, E, those make musical notes, right? So the trick to like pitching things and making them sound quasi melodic is to like move those vowels, hold on to the vowels, kind of like let go of the consonants more quickly and get to the next vowel. Right. So it's like whatever the melody is. I am of that.
It sounds like me singing my part and then them doing their thing and then me listening to them and then messing up my thing and then him being like,
oh, okay.
It's a mess. It's completely unorchestrated because
Okay.
we don't know,
All right.
we don't know how to approach it.
So let me just hear you sing the chorus. I'll give you the track so you can get the key.
I know is like the lower harmony. I know that. It's the first half.
It's mainly a lot of confidence.
All right.
Stuff I gotta get.
Tom, you sing your melody here.
Life's embrace. Life's embrace.
Life's embrace. Life's
Life's embrace.
Life's embrace. Here we go.
Life's embrace.
Yell. Big mouth.
Life's embrace.
Nice. Hey, there's a singer in this guy.
Life's embrace. Release the ones I've lost.
Big tip, right? I need vowels. Vowels. You're going life, and it's all like stuck on your teeth, right? Do this. Ah. Let's say ah. Live. Open up the vowel. Okay, the second vowel is eh. And then the next vowel is eh. Sorry, missed the note. Ah, eh. Can you just do the vowels? Ah, eh. Now put the L, all the consonants with it, but keep those vowels going. Life's embrace. That's much stronger.
Life's embrace.
Good. Okay, we nailed the hook. Now we got to do the rest of it.
This is like my first week learning how to sing. Like the past, like 2 weeks, these guys have been helping me out like so much.
Oh, this is like that. You're doing great.
I could play music, but I'm like, I really like.
You could sing too.
I really appreciate you doing this. Right?
No, you could.
What I'm trying to say.
Well, you could sing. You could really sing.
When she told me that I was going to be able to do it, I started to believe myself that I probably could too.
She's so personable and friendly, and it just makes you feel really comfortable.
Going in there, I was definitely worried about singing in front of her, but she was like, did this whole stage fright thing where on my first lesson, she sits me down at the piano and told me, just play a song. Sets the mic up, and I'm nothing prepared, like, play a song. I'll help you out with it, and it was awesome.
To be able to make people like us relax in a situation like that, he definitely understands where we're coming from as musicians and as people. Being in the situation that we are, being such an extreme type of music.
I think maybe the second lesson I had with her, as I was leaving, I sang some tune in a real sort of mellow voice, and she said, "You have a great voice." And I remember walking out feeling so proud and wow, you know, she said I was actually had a good voice. And even if I don't believe it myself, that the fact that she thought there was something in there to like definitely gave me a boost of confidence. And next time I came back, I felt, you know, better about being at the lesson.
She just makes it really comfortable with you.
Yeah, it's just a very basic, relaxing like the time you're there, it's just totally relaxed. You know, because he's working on one-on-one with you.
Listen, he definitely changed our lives for the better as far as singing is going. He gave us confidence, and he made singing stress-free for me, not to worry about losing my voice. As long as I do my warm-ups, I feel like I'm straight, you know? Yeah. And I'm more conscious about listening to myself and paying attention than I was before, just screaming random shit, you know?
And we're all way more in touch with our feminine side now.
Definitely.
Now I want to tell you about heat and fire. And I want to define what that is. Heat is when you put a little bit of a crunch on a note. Instead of, and I reck of you. It's got that sound to it. Fire is when there's no note. It's almost a spoken tone, but it has a
and the wreck of you.
When I first started screaming, I didn't even think you could get taught that.
You can still maintain that sort of force, but do it in a way that it's not just wreaking havoc on your throat.
She definitely taught me how to be a little bit more forceful without having to work harder to be forceful.
For a long time, I would sing in voices like this, and it would really hurt by the end of the day, or even hurt as I was doing it. And one thing that I know and I learned from this was that if it hurts, you're doing it wrong. And you can probably get the same sound another way without it hurting.
You mustn't think of this as singing. This is yelling, but it's yelling onto pitch. The rainbow exercise goes like this. You take your hand and you make 4 arcs. The first one is down here, and you take the syllable whoa, like whoa, horsey, and you move it with your hand. So it goes like this. Whoa. And then you make a higher one. Whoa. And then you make a higher one. Whoa. And then you make a high one, but instead of going all the way down, you stop in mid-heaven. Whoa! That's a pitch. Now, if I were to sing that, right? I do all kinds of weird things to sing. But if I pitch the yell, whoa, and I put a little heat on it, which I'll get to in a second, that's how I'm going to get that sound. Not by singing it, but by yelling it onto the pitch. Now, let's talk about the heat. The first thing I want you to do is to pretend like you're a kitty cat. Now, take a look at my larynx. See how my little, if I had an Adam's apple, it would be right here. I don't because I'm a girl, but watch how it jumps up when I go, see how it lifts up? Now, the way I'm going to hurt myself is to do that without the dump or the baby. Do this for me. Ow! Ow! Right? That didn't hurt me, by the way, because I used so much baby and so much dump. And you can get away with anything as long as you use that. But if I do that with the kitty cat, right, and then add a note to that,
No!
That's how you get the heat.
She understands the difference between singing and screaming, and you don't find a lot of people that understand the difference, the different parts of your vocal cords that you use, your false cords for screaming and your true cords for regular singing.
You're using like a different part of the vocal cord
Right.
to do that. You're actually using something called the false chord. When I go, that's not the same thing as that goes, right? It's a whole different thing. So I'm actually like pushing together a different part of my vocal cord.
Heat is a great word to describe grit or harmonics that run through a voice.
She kind of taught me how to do different things to it, improve the scream almost, but not change what I had, Just I knew I could scream, but then she taught me how to put heat on it, coming from this part.
I like there to be harmonics when I sing. You have a bit of heat in the voice. You can get a lot of heat.
Immediately I could scream for an hour long set and talk normal afterwards. Whereas before I was doing an hour set and I would be doing all the screaming and I would get off stage and sound like blah, blah, blah.
I have some suggestions about learning fire. First of all, I don't want you to practice this more than 5 minutes at a time because you're probably going to do it wrong to learn how to do it right. And you could kind of slice yourself up doing it too much. The larynx is your house. I don't want you to scrape in your house. I do not want you to get any sound by going like that, but rather you do this Marge Simpson thing, which is kind of in the yard up here, oh, Bart, oh, Bart. Ah! You can make that noise without hurting yourself because you have to actually use the dump or the baby. Ow, ow, doesn't hurt a bit. But if you make that feel as aggressive as it sounds, you are going to get hurt.
That I can do all day long. Or that I can do fairly well. That really doesn't give me any problem.
I want you to bark like a dog. Do this. Roof, roof, roof. You feel how your dump is actually like pumping that? Roof, roof, roof.
It's difficult to be one-dimensional these days. You need to go ahead and have a range, or else people are just going to be like, oh, it's another screamer. Or if they're into metal, it's like, well, yeah, you know, he sings, but it's, you know, that's about it. It's just singing, you know?
One of the major factors of me deciding to work with Melissa is that I knew I didn't have to explain from scratch what I was talking about. This style of extreme metal has a, you know, a pretty interesting vocal like technique. You know, it's not exactly classically, you know, inclined in most ways. Most kids are screaming their, you know, lungs out and their heart out. So, and that's tough if you go in and you're like play stuff and you're like, some reason I'm losing my voice every now and then on tour, and you play him your CD and you're screaming. He's like, well, yeah, because you're screaming. You know, like she totally knows what's up, so she's already like, oh, cool, you know. And she'd worked with a lot of bands that I had known from the past, that, you know, she'd worked with kids from the hardcore scene and from the metal scene. So just knowing that you could already begin, you know, with that understanding was a huge comfort factor, and also helped, you know, just get right into it.
People want to know, hey, how do you scream like that? You know, people want to know, hey, what do I do? How do I do this? And she really knows her stuff backwards and front, you know. So it's really cool that someone's actually putting out a DVD that says, hey, this is the stuff that you're going to want to know if you're looking to be in a metal band.
You could scream, and then if you know you have to go from screaming to singing, you know that when you're screaming, you have to bring it down a little bit in order to go into the singing, which a lot of people don't recognize. I mean, there's these transitions that are just, you know, screaming bloody murder into the singing that's like, well, it sounds good, but the transitions aren't smooth. And I really think that's what Melissa Cross definitely taught me, how to transition between yelling and screaming and singing the best, so I know where I have to be when, you know, a phrase ends to go into the next part.
If I could only make you want to want me, one more drink,
being in a metal band the way I am, and you have this idea that because you're screaming or you're singing in a like intense way, you have to be like kind of like really, you know, just like really tight, and you don't. You have to be relaxed. You have to come out there and let the voice flow out of you, as opposed to sitting there and be like, ugh.
That's a really popular way that people for this kind of music sing, is from their throat, and it sometimes sounds just like it hurts.
Just don't push. That's the whole thing. Kids ask me that all the time. How do you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, just don't push.
The exercise that I want you to practice is I want you to do your ABCs and do jumping jacks.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Have you guys had to do that? The jumping jacks?
No, I'm too fat.
I've had to do the ABCs screaming in my voice.
H-I-J-K-L-M-N-O-P-Q-R-S-T-U-V-W-X-Y-Z. Excellent. That was great. The emotion goes in your heart, not in your body. So you need to be very calculated about not putting too much anger, aggression, or angst in your throat. You don't need it, and it's going to hurt you. Use the dump.
It feels way better, and at the end of the night, you know, I'm exhausted from playing, but I don't feel like I got run over by like a tractor, you know, that like stopped to wreck on my throat for a while.
Now I can just hold and scream my pitch on a dime without really trying to overexert myself and
not pushing.
Feel like shit after the show.
Every day I get off stage and I'm fine. Compared to a couple tours ago, I was getting off stage and I couldn't even talk. You know, it felt like I was tearing stuff in my throat. You know, I could feel the strain while I was doing it. Sometimes it would give me headaches too, because I was doing it completely wrong.
To sing more or less not in a particular key, which would be screaming, not necessarily high, not like a only, but all kinds of ranges of screaming, and that's an exciting thing, and I've seen it grow in popularity, and that's what's so good about this thing, is to talk about that kind of singing, to learn about that kind of singing, so you can find your voice within that range.
If you're a lead singer, you're like an athlete. You have to take care of yourself. I'm going to give you some tips. Number 1, don't push. If you are rehearsing in a small rehearsal space and you can't hear yourself, don't try to compete with the guitar player and the drums and the bass, because you're not going to win. it's just not going to be fun. So you have to talk to yourself and say, I will not push, I will not push. Even if you have bad monitors, you cannot push your voice above to be heard. You just have to trust that the audience is hearing it.
Live, it's so loud a lot of times that you're going to sing in a different way, especially if you can't hear yourself. And I think that it's very easy to lose your voice, but it's also very easy to do things that will help you avoid it.
A lot of singers try to compensate for that not being able to hear by just yelling louder, and that's when it goes awry.
If they're not going to turn down,
then we're not going to play a show.
Well, no, that's kind of diva-y. That depends on
Yeah.
You're just going to have to not push. You're not going to have a good time. And it's kind of a drag because it's not fun.
You know what I hate now too, which I didn't care about? I didn't really mind. I minded the whole DIY thing when it was in the editorial and stuff.
Yeah.
But this, even later on, I like playing real PAs, but it just sucks when you were trying to be so professional and then you play shitty clubs and the monitors suck.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you can't blame it on that. You have to be good no matter what the scenario
it's
is.
not fun. No
you
bad
don't hear
monitors.
yourself as well,
It's
so you
not
can't-
fun. It's
Some of our
really
first
a
tours in
drag.
history, no sound man, and it's just so hard to hear each other. There's so many melodies going on, you know.
Absolutely. And it's not fun. You just have to talk to yourself, I will not push.
Yeah.
I will not push. This is going to suck, but I will not push. Because if you push, it's out front. It sounds awful.
Learning to kind of lay back and not let your excitement get too much in the way of how you sound. And a lot of times if, I'll just do a quick little like ear tap just so I can kind of hear it more in my head.
Listen to yourself and don't push too hard. Don't choke. Don't go out like a punk. Don't choke.
When I don't have monitors, you tend to scream a lot harder and probably put out more air than you really need because you're trying to hear yourself in your own ears.
If you can't hear yourself, you get to a point when you're yelling or when you're singing when you know that the sound that you're making is resonating off anything else. And you don't have to necessarily hear it in the monitors.
My position on stage, I'm behind all the amps, and I have a drum monitor coming at the left side of my head, and I have Tom's monitors in front of him coming at me, and it's really, really, really loud. I can barely hear my keyboards, let alone my voice, but I've just learned that I know what it sounds like, and I don't really have to hear it too much.
Just because you can't hear it right here, everyone else can hear it out there. Well, at least you hope.
When there's a bad monitor mix or like a bad sound guy, you got to kind of take enough faith that you're probably doing what, if you just feel like, on your normal level, you probably are nailing it. Just to kind of have a little faith and don't try and overcompensate for a shitty PA. You will just torture yourself.
That's how a lot of people lose their voices. But I think that, like, with Melissa, what she taught me was that when you sing where you're supposed to sing from, where you're supposed to scream from, you feel it, like, up here, which I had never done before. I always felt it like down here, but I wasn't ever sure. So now, at least I know now that if something isn't working, as long as I feel it where I'm supposed to feel it, I don't have to overcompensate anymore. Because I know that it's getting there. I might not personally be able to hear it.
If you've just played a set and you come off and there's another band playing or there's loud music over the PA, don't talk. And if you have to talk, put your finger over your ear so that you can hear yourself. Oftentimes, you'll be talking all night, and you don't even know how loud you're talking because you're talking like just normally, and you know I like a bit, and then you're hoarse the next day, not because of the set that you sang, but because you were talking like that over the music.
It's when you're drunk and screaming all night and just yelling over the other bands playing and getting a little buck wild, that's when you blow your shit out.
If I don't get enough sleep, then that'll give me a problem. If I talk too much after shows, or if I'm yelling too much after shows, or if I'm out partying with my friends and stuff, then after shows, then I'll end up losing my voice.
If you lose your voice, don't whisper. That is the worst thing that you can do. You know what whispering is? You're slamming your vocal cords together to make sound. There couldn't be anything worse for swollen cords than slamming them together to make sound. So if you have to speak, speak up. Use the speech warm-up. Use the whole machine. And don't coddle your voice, and don't try to save it, and don't try to be careful with it, because actually what you're doing there is you're just like rubbing an emery board on your vocal cords. You need to use the whole machine. The best thing to do is to learn vocal rest.
You told us be quiet was the best thing to do?
Be quiet.
We did it for 8 hours one time in Australia. I got a horse, and me and brother didn't talk for 8-hour drive.
It worked,
and it
right?
worked great, yeah. So long as I didn't talk. I swear, I was writing notes all the way there.
Yeah,
Crazy.
vocal rest rule.
Definitely, like, be gentle with your voice. If you're screaming and you've kind of had some singing experience and it starts to hurt, you gotta stop and like figure it out another way.
I do tell people, don't believe in all that, all like the lozengers and all that stuff. This stuff does not help. You just basically just
warm your throat up.
Warm your throat up. The tea, all that shit doesn't work. She told me that.
If you are one of these people that is always you need to learn how to clear your throat in a way that's less aggressive, less violent, like this. Stop with that scraping thing.
Toby,
you should never clear your throat like that.
It's okay, no?
No, blow air through it. Do this. Yeah, like that. Don't crunch. Don't crunch. No crunching, right? Just right, like that. Because that's like screaming the wrong way when you do that. If there's some glump in there, it's not going to kill you. Unless it's a big thing, just let it fall off by itself.
There's been times where I've been sick and would have a hard time, but I find that a lot of times the losing of your voice is just stuff in your throat, and the way that I sing now, more or less it vibrates it loose, and when I'm singing, like, I'll just like spit it up and it's just like ready to roll.
Allergies can cause havoc with singers because you get this nasal drip. That stuff drips onto your vocal cords and it makes you cough and it makes you dehydrated. It makes you much weaker. So if you have allergies, see your doctor about it or get something over the counter. And a word about reflux laryngitis. Reflux laryngitis is when your stomach acid splashes up onto your vocal cords when you lie down after you eat. It's kind of like what people with heartburn get, except oftentimes reflux laryngitis does not come with heartburn, so you really don't feel it. You just know it because there's a lump in your throat all the time in the morning, and you always feel like you have to clear your throat. This is something that a doctor can diagnose. It's very common. It's very treatable. But it's something that could make you hoarse, so you want to take a look at it.
We tour so frequently that maintenance of my throat is a pretty important thing, because I don't want to have shows where I have like halfway bring it and could have been better, because I was either like not taking care of myself or whatever, not warming up.
You cannot blame bad singing on smoking.
Your voice is your instrument. Whether you want to smoke, drink, or do whatever you do, you still have to respect it regardless. You might lose your voice if you drink. You might not lose your voice if you drink. You might lose your voice if you smoke. You know what? It's the good with the bad. You got to take it and accept it and work with it, but you can't use it as a crutch. You know what I mean? So if you want to be straight edge and don't do shit and sing, then do your thing. If you want to fucking party up and sing, just know that, if you don't treat your body right, physical body, then it's going to show in your performance. So you just got to fucking do your thing, man.
She's also not gonna think you're never gonna party. So, come on, me and Randy, the new toxic twins. So if we can keep our voice every night with our lifestyle, thanks to Melissa's handy warm up, anyone can. You're all saved.
I hope that I've given you some tools to stay in the moment with your voice, that you're not judging yourself and listening to yourself, but you are being your voice in the moment, in the now, straight from the heart, because that is the Zen of Screaming.
Finding my actual vocal cords to produce melodies above these rock riffs that I've written over the past years has been, for me, a spiritual musical journey of bringing all of me and all of as much of the universe as I can into one CD form and sonic form.
It's definitely a Zen thing. I feel like it's crazy going to see her and coming out of her lessons after feels like therapy almost, because you come out and you feel awesome about it.
There's a mentality of you should be able to sing on your own and you shouldn't need lessons and no one should be able to tell you what to do. Singing is personal, it's about you. And I agree with all those things, but it's the same as anything in life. why not improve? If you really love it and if you really take it seriously, wouldn't you do anything you could to get even that much better?
You definitely will skeptical when you first think about it. You might take vocal lessons, and it might take away some of your characteristics of your vocal style that you have or who you are. But you're always going to be who you are. You're always going to sing and feel passionate about the things you sing, and she's just going to make you sound better doing it.
She knows how
Everyone should go to Melissa Cross.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Listen to that big baritone voice.
She gives me the warm and fuzzy feeling.
All right, I go.
Yummy.
You ready?
Oh.
We love you, Melissa. You rock.
Yes. It's an instructional video. What the fuck?
Melissa Cross.
Pick it up.
Melissa Cross.
Melissa Cross, I love you.
We love
Big shout out to Melissa Cross. Thank you for everything you've done to help us change the way we sound on stage and as singers. And you're the best. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa, for helping.
Hey! Melissa Cross.
What's up, baby? How you
Helps every
doing?
time I die.
We love Melissa Cross. That's right.
It's all in the stomach, baby.
Well, there you have it. The end of the DVD has arrived, but I must say you certainly know more now than you knew when you came in here. You've had pointers and tips from Melissa Cross, the expert on screaming and growling and everything else. You don't know everything there is to know, but you know more than you did know, and that's a lot. So you're going to take these tips. You're going to take your rotunda. You're going to take your breathing. You're going to take your giots. You're going to take your buzzing bee. You're going to take all these things and apply them. Not think about them. Apply them to your soul, to yourself, to your Zen of Screaming.